I've been covering supply chain planning for over 20 years. And supply chain planning is based on the model. And the more granular the model, the more constraints you're modeling, the better the supply chain plan. And my observation is historically, we've done a lot better job modeling manufacturing companies' supply chains than we have retailers.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about the model that Solvoyo uses in retail and the constraints you're looking at?
Of course. In order to achieve autonomous planning, you really need to get to the guts of those constraints, and so that the recommendations coming out of the engine are realistic and reflect the realities, on the ground. So we going kind of from store backwards. I'll give a couple of examples. At the store level, we can model minimum display requirements for different store formats, of course, which means that there needs to be that data available, like as some sort of planogram data, right? That's
Mhm.
available systemically. When that's available, we can actually get the right quantities for each different store, depending on their requirements, if there's a minimum display requirement. There can also be capacity constraints, at the store stockroom. There might be limitations. We have some other retailers who don't really have backroom stock storage capability, so we need to know about those, so we're not shoving boxes of items that are not going to fit in the store. We also, in terms of the specific quantities being shipped to the store, you might need, your net requirements might say you need 3 units, but actually there's a minimum shipping units, or a packaging, requirement. You need to
Mm.
send at least 1 box. You can't just send, 3 candies out of a box. You need to know that you have to send at least 1 box. So we model requirements like those as well. We have also store replenishment schedules. So not every store might be replenished every day. And with such a big store base, A101 for many years actually did to replenish every store every day. But now they're also understanding that well, not all the stores are turning through inventory at the same speed, so maybe some of them are being replenished every other day. So our replenishment quantities also take that schedule into account, and when they're giving recommendations, it knows that this is a replenishment day for a specific store, so the recommendation that's given can be executed. We have also, the lead times as well. Is it going to get there in a day? Is it going to get there the same day? Is it going to get there in 3 days? So we model those constraints as well. And on the DC procurement side, there are vendor-related constraints. Again, the vendors have their own lead times. Vendors have their minimum required quantities for purchasing. They have their, logistics capabilities, how many days they're going to take to deliver. Are they delivering, every day of the week, or there are certain days that they deliver on? So we work with those as well. So to the point that all of these parameters are available systematically, we can incorporate all of these into the models.
And Erkan, I hear about this and I think about 10,000 stores. I mean, we're starting to use the terminology digital twin to refer to a supply chain model. This is really a complex digital twin that you have put into place. Any other constraints that are worth mentioning from your point of view, Erkan?
Uh, I mean, it's not just the constraints. It's more like a advice for others who might be going down this path. This digital transformation, like Asena mentioned earlier, is a journey that needs a solid foundation. So I believe you need to start with investing in systems that can support your vision. ERP is the backbone of this. There were a number of things we wanted to do over the years, but we were limited due to the constraints in our ERP system. Also, once you make all those investments, you still need a planning platform that can grow and evolve with your needs seamlessly. Uh, I believe Solvoyo enabled us that because of their easy configuration of the backend and the front end, which made it possible for us. This platform also needs to be integrated as the system adapts to the ever-changing business needs. Plus, it needs to provide analytical insights to reduce manual work.
And it sounds like since you're also using it for procurement out of the into the warehouse, you probably have a warehouse management system in place as well.
Correct. So yeah, I mean, in our ERP, the whole infrastructure, we work with Solvoyo, SAP HANA, and a local WMS provider.
Beautiful. And Asena, if you think about the journey that A101 has gone on, you know, Erkan has given us some very good advice. Is there any other advice that you would give for folks thinking about a similar journey?
Yes, of course. So when we say this is a journey, there are also some, I think, steps in the journey that could help guide them through this progression. We call these steps digital, intelligent, and autonomous. So on the digital side, this means getting all the relevant internal and external data, and starting with an end-to-end visibility and automated diagnostics. So this enables them to Erkan's point, to have the foundation. And also through end-to-end visibility, they can also see where there are gaps, you know, their supply chain and what needs to be improved, and to what extent the current system and the current data can support the future vision. And then once you kind of get those all, you know, squared away, and maybe not all 100%, but 80% there, you get to the intelligence step. Once you are clear on, you know, what you're trying to achieve and you have the data to support it, now you can start having predictive models adding value. Those could be AI ML models, right, providing predictions and capabilities for what if analysis. And then once those are in place and working fine, then you can say, okay, well, I can be autonomous. So trying to jump kind of from 0 to 100% autonomous systematically is feasible. You know, we can, as I say, we deliver systems, we can set it up in 3 months. But that all those data quality issues and consistency, and also changing the internal, you know, working culture and the processes does take some time. So I recommend them, you know, approaching them in these, you know, 3 steps: digital, intelligent, and autonomous. And you know, they might get there, you know, in 6 months, in a year. But again, it's good to do due diligence at each step to make sure that you are, you know, prepared for a full-on automation.
Erkan, one thing around supply chain planning, particularly sort of the demand side of it, you have something like a pandemic. You know, it's not steady state. You get these huge surges in demand or huge falls in demand. I'm guessing probably a lot of folks out there have struggled with that. How did the platform work for you guys during COVID?
That's great question, Steve. So with, like you said, such a big network, supply chain disruptions and uncertainty are normal for us. With the use of advanced analytics and automation, we have been planning some level of complexity way ahead of our competitors. However, this whole COVID-19 impact was at a much larger scale with much more uncertainty. In the first weeks of March 2020, we detected spikes in demand for around 900 items out of our 1600. And within a week or two, we were able to set up automated detection tool and started adjusting the safety stocks across our DCs to prevent major stockouts. Because we were able to act fast, we secured replenishment from our suppliers in large quantities within a week. Once the warehouse stocks were safeguarded, we started increasing safety stocks in the stores gradually in a more controlled manner. as we adjusted our operations and logistics capabilities. So the end result was rewarding for us. From April to May 2020, our sales went up by 50%, while out of stocks only increased by 3%. And the main reason for that 3% was related to supplier issues.
Wow, that's amazing. And historically, the benefits, the main benefits of the Solvoyo solution
Mhm.
has been carrying lower inventory, but still having high customer service. Would that be accurate?
Yes, correct.
Okay.